Hello and welcome back to Netflix Football on Podcast with Neil. Manchester United versus Aston Villa at Villa Park against the Devils, against the Villains. We have got 4 matches in 7 days, courtesy of our own fan base. But that was needed. We'll go more into that with just a bit. And we have got a star cast panel tonight or today evening, wherever you're watching from. So let's bring them up on screen right now. So, chalo. So to my left is Yusuf, to my right is Shayan. Below me, Ayanda and Kaushikda joining in on the panel tonight, and with me are my 7 dogs whom you can hear in the background. Okay, Yusuf. Before actually I go to Yusuf, there's a special message for one of the recurring panelists that we have is Jivagda, who's been suffering from COVID and is very uneasy at the moment of time. So message from Netflix Football to Jivagda is that hope you recover very soon. Stay indoors, stay safe. I know you're in Poland, so let's hope that you get all the features that are accessible over there, and let's hope that you have a quick recovery because we want you back in this panel and in podcast with me. So let's hope from all the team of all the panelists, let's wish Jivakta a very quick recovery, guys. And apart from that, the game of football has always inspired us. I've started doing this podcast mainly from last year in this pandemic situation, and it does not seem to end, but life has to go on, so has football. And something in this fairy tale of life, some magnanimous thing was achieved yesterday night. Yusuf is already smiling because someone by the name of Wayne Rooney actually accomplished probably what was impossible. Not probably, because what was at that point of time classified impossible. Took on Derby County as a manager, retired as a player, and then kept them up top. So Yusuf, just talk us through the emotions, being a Wayne Rooney fanatic for all these years. How much did it appeal to you, being Wayne Rooney as a manager? We've all seen Wayne Rooney as a player, but Wayne Rooney as a manager, doing the unthinkable?
See what happened at the start of the season for Derby County was that Philip Cocu wasn't playing well, and like in the 11 or 12 games that he was in charge, there was only one victory that came in. So he was sacked, and Rooney, along with Liam Rosevier and others, like 4 people, were combined to like coach the team. They bought in, like, and the problem with Derby County started when the takeover talks started. Like, there was one owner from Saudi Arabia. He wanted to buy the club. It was about to get finalized, and it didn't completely fell out. The players weren't getting the wages, and like Rooney kept them up. Like when Rooney was sole in charge, I think they didn't lose a single game for like 6 to 7 games. They conceded like 2 goals only. They kept 4 clean sheets as well, and they won 3 to 4 games as well. But the form started to dip. Like, you're not getting salaries. You're not, like, players weren't motivated. But after, like, for a long time, just like the last result was Sheffield Wednesday 3, Derby 3, like last day. Before that, Derby lost 6 games in a single league. And now the takeover talks have again started with Eric Alonso, a Spanish guy, coming in and wanting to buy the club. So the players weren't still getting their full salaries. They are still getting half of it what they used to get. But like the last day was something very good for me. Half time we were down 1-0, but then Rooney gave a pep talk, maybe like a Sir Alex Ferguson hair dye treatment, and they came back, stuck 2 goals. Wednesday stuck one, and then we again scored a penalty. 3-3, we are up. And the biggest reason is Sheffield Wednesday's point deduction. The start of the season, they were fined by the championship. They started the season with minus 12 points. After an appeal, they went to minus 6 points, and that changed. So we are up with this, but we are also up with the players and Rooney and everyone doing their job. So they were very much motivated yesterday. I'm very happy, and I'm very happy. And I hope that the takeover things start and they stop with all this thing, and Rooney gets a full transfer window, unlike he got only on the deadline day.
Your mic was muted. Absolutely, so you were spot on with the fact that how problematic situations were there in Derby County and how Wayne Rooney accomplished that. Like, we all know that he has accomplished the impossible, and how he has been magnanimous, we all know throughout his career. But this is a new conjecture in his life, and we wish him all the best. Maybe one day we might just get to see him under the Old Trafford lights, under Sir Alex Ferguson's stand, Wayne Rooney as the manager. What a dream, what an enigma it would be. So okay, the lineups are out. One football hasn't delayed. By the way, sponsor कर लो भाई लोग. कितना बार बोलता हूँ one football sponsor कर दो. Okay, so this is the lineup. I'll go with the Aston Villa lineup first. So okay, Emi Martinez starts on goal. It's not up. It's not up. Okay, okay, it's up. Okay. Yusuf Bhaiya Akash says pro Yusuf Bhaiya ekdam mast pro. Okay, Emi Martinez starts on goal. Matty Cash, Konsa, Tyrone Mings, and Matt Target in defense. Douglas Lewis partners John McGinn, Bertrand Traore, Ross Barkley, Anwar El Ghazi in the midfield. Jack Grealish missing out still with that injury, and Ollie Watkins, the danger man up top. Manchester United lineup, as you can see, scrolling, but I'll still get you through it. Ole goes with his trusted 11. Dean Henderson, Wan Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw, McTominay, Fred, Greenwood, Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, and Marcus Rashford. Probably Greenwood would be leading the line, and Marcus Rashford would be starting out wide. Go straight to Shayan. Shayan, do you think that a strong lineup is what you expected tonight against Aston Villa, considering the fact that we have around 4 matches in 7 days coming up?
Well, I am done with this midfield duo, Scott McTominay and Fred. I'm just really done, and I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them in the lineup anymore. I'm sorry. McTominay is a good player, and Fred also tries his best, but I'm done with it. I'm done. I would like to see Paul Pogba starting with Donny van der Beek because it's high time now, and I think we need to drop McTominay and Fred. Apart from that, I think I agree with you that Greenwood will be leading the lineup, and I think he would exchange positions with Marcus Rashford, and I think Marcus Rashford is going to drop down in the right wing place, and whereas Mason Greenwood will be the sole striker here, and will obviously definitely receive some help from Bruno Fernandes and Paul Pogba. Apart from that, and it's obvious that Victor Lindelof and Harry Maguire is going to start because that's why he played Eric Bailly in the previous match and lost against 3-2 against Roma. And it's a very obvious lineup. And one thing again, I would have loved to see David De Gea started today because he was god level in that previous match. So I would have liked David De Gea to replace Dean Henderson, but I saw that he was put up in the transfer window for sale. So it's really disheartening.
Considering the fact that how David De Gea has performed over the years. There's numerous talking points about David De Gea. We'll go into that. We have a segment called David De Gea versus Dean. But straight to you, I'll counter Maiti's logic on this, is that Fred and McTominay have started all the games that Man United have scored 5 goals or more in the past 2.5 seasons that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been in charge in. So that's quite a feat considering the fact that people label them not quality enough, not good enough. And I'll ask you this one thing, because I was having a discussion with a friend before this match started, because Liverpool, Leicester, and then probably Wolves, if the remaining 3 fixtures are there. Isn't this game, without a Jack Grealish in the Aston Villa side, United should have continued with a full team because this is the most likely to get the 3 points from? Do you agree with Ole's selection of a full starting squad?
Yeah, I'm quite happy with this team selection because United will probably prioritize the Liverpool match more than the Leicester match, I guess, and hence the rotation that we will see from Ole will probably on Tuesday night, and again strong team similar to this one in the Liverpool game. Coming to that Fred McTominay topic, I will disagree with Shayan on this because uh, you may berate them, but they have been quietly but consistently doing their job. It's that they're not playing that bad, just like Victor Lindelof has been partnering Harry Maguire up at the back. So yeah, this is the team that Ole likes to go with. This team, uh, this midfield duo rather that praises his tactics, that lets him play his style of football, and yeah, this team for today, because without Jack Grealish, Aston Villa are not that potent a team. But yes, Ollie Watkins could be a threat, but that is for another section. But yeah, this team, I'm really happy to see this team, and I'll just tell Sam that just don't take it out completely on Fran McTominay because they will be playing in that final against Villarreal.
Okay. Kaushik, going over straight to you. The Aston Villa lineup that we discussed, Jack Grealish is definitely missing. We know how much they create with and without Jack Grealish, but the likes of Ross Barkley and Ollie Watkins and United have been susceptible to pace very recently with that Maguire Lindelof pairing, even though they have improved. Do you think Aston Villa pose a threat and can cause an upset at Villa Park tonight? You're on mute, Kaushik.
Okay, so but I really think Aston Villa are a side on their day they can pretty much hammer you, and this is precisely one of the reasons why Fred and McTominay are playing instead of Pogba and Van der Beek. Because considering last time in at Roma itself, we saw Van der Beek is necessarily not a person who plays very well in the number six role or in the central, in a stable midfield area. He's much more better when he's making runs up front. And if you accommodate a certain Bruno Fernandes in the cam position, it's pointless to stuff Van der Beek in the same lineup because not necessarily possible to sub off Bruno Fernandes and bring Van der Beek in, considering he has not got so much amount of game time, so he'll most likely not fit in right away. So if you have a team which includes Pogba and Matic, the thing that will happen is Matic, he will stay behind. He doesn't have the mobility to do up and down runs like a person who has a lot of energy. He can't bombard up and down the field. Something which Fred and McTominay they do throughout the game. They are engines on their own. And in that all situation as well, if you play Pogba, Pogba will get stifled as well in the midfield. So in that situation, Fred and McTominay, I think when they play, they have their own dynamic approach, although they come with their own set of drawbacks. However, if you see people like Ollie Watkins, he's a striker who is very strengthy, and sometimes we have seen Lindelof. He's susceptible to strikers who are pretty strong and who can impose themselves. I know the foul that was committed on Lindelof at West Brom away. I think it was the first goal that went in. The striker completely imposed himself on top of Lindelof. However, I still don't think it was a goal, but still, Lindelof, even though
That was a bloody foul all day, all night long. If you
yes,
penalize Maguire for the goal that he had against probably
yes,
some opposition,
Burnley, he
Burnley,
was
yeah,
resting his
that
arm.
was a
Yes, yes,
foul.
yes.
That was a bloody foul.
Yeah, so considering that point itself, I believe if you consider somebody like a Barkley, they can run in behind. They are on in terms of pace, they are pretty much on par with the likes of Rashford or some of the quickest guys out there in the entire Premier League setup. So they would most likely employ a low block, if I am not wrong, and they would like to hit us on the counter, something which United tends to struggle, even though we have been high flying away from home. That's what I want to say. So yes,
Pretty much
they will
clearly,
be a threat.
you clearly hit the nail on the head. But considering the fact that what you said very clearly that Van de Beek is not as much suited in the number six position in the Premier League. I know he has played there for Holland, he's played there for Ajax, but he's not a specialist. I'll make a Van de Beek detail of how the myth he is that he can play positions, but I'll talk. We have talked about his specialty all over, but I'll still make a video at the end of the season. But again, Fred and McTominay, what they provide, especially against the dynamic duo of Ross Barkley, of your John McGinn, who will run ragged on the pitch. And if you have Pogba and if he loses the ball that deep, see Pogba on the wing, even if he loses the ball, there's cover. But even as a deep lying playmaker, there's no Rafael Varane or N'Golo Kante behind to scoop up the balls. It makes sense to play Paul Pogba until we probably get let's dream. We probably get NDT right there. Oh my god, I love to dream. It's the theater of dreams for a reason. Okay, so talking about people to get in, what I've heard that supporters will be allowed next in the last game of the season in the respective stadiums. Probably Old Trafford will be getting one. So Yusuf, I'll go to you. How much would it mean to actually get the Stratford end back? I mean, it has been so long since we have had supporters in the stadium that it feels lost. The game feels lost without it. So Yusuf, your thoughts on the whole pandemic situation and getting supporters back? How much of a boost will it be for the lads?
It, it's gonna be great, it's going to be great, especially with this Europa Super League and then the stuff that was going on, and now the Glazers protest that postponed the Liverpool game. It will be very exciting to see the what the supporters bring to the game. They will be always be cheering for the Reds. We all know that. And in this pandemic, they have like every one of us has suffered, in some way or in the other way. But football has kept us together. And if we can watch football live in a stadium that England fans can do, that United supporters can do or the other team supporters can do, then it is brilliant for me. I think that the atmosphere, it's a different feeling watching a game with fans on. The excitement you get, everything, that it's a different feeling. I'm very excited for this.
I know Cheyenne is also excited as well. Cheyenne, your thoughts on the same topic? Stratford and back. And do you think that United have suffered from actually not having the Stratford and they have gone missing in the starting half of the games and they've not been easy, right? Because we falter a lot in the first 15 minutes. Statistically, it has been said so. Would the fans back give a cheering hand onto the lads and a bit more confidence and conscience?
Absolutely. When we have fans in the stadium, it's an extra push for the players from their back, and they gets motivated and they gets inspired and they get that fire to play for their fans and for the club. Obviously, the presence of many people watching them closely and cheering for them is a big boost for all the players, and also they would have their confidence. And I think apart from the manager and the supporting staff, I think the fans will be that extra edge, and an extra push and boost for the players to play for their club. And it's obviously, as we know, that football is nothing without the fans. So it will be a great factor for of their presence.
Quite a testament from Shine taking the books of Sir Matt Busby. And football is nothing without the fans. We have talked in depth about the fact that the European Super League and stuff. We have covered all of that. And see, wherever football goes, without competitive football, nothing is possible at this moment of time. The joy that we had, that Yusuf had on his face, because Wayne Rooney survived relegation, would it have been there in the European Super League? I don't think so. But what is right there right now is that you can hit that subscribe button. Chalo, 1.12k is actually the target. Chalo, maar do fatafat subscribe. Niche button, it doesn't cost you anything. I got my wallet stolen, by the way, this morning. And
Oh
credits to
God.
the one who found it. Probably he will have to spend 23 rupees and 50 paise. I had that coin for the rest of his
Typical
life.
thing.
The only thing I'm worried about is my driving license. That's it. If any one of my subscribers get it, please वापस दे दो. फिर से apply करना पड़ेगा GD के लिए. मंथ 20 रुपया रख लो. नहीं चाहिए. Okay. Talking about 20 rupiah and unused things, something that has been unused by Olegana Solskjaer is this man. Sorry for bringing in this reference, but Donny van de Beek. and the title is similar, Donny van de Bench, and he even
Oh,
like on a serious note, Olegana Solskjaer said that whoever started 90 minutes on Thursday will not play 90 minutes in the next 3.5 games. I don't know if that applies for Pedro McTominay. I sincerely don't think that applies. But again, Aston Villa, a match where there will be a lot of half spaces, the ones he focuses on pretty well. See, I'll go to Ananda with this because he is an avid admirer of Donny van de Beek. Thing is that if you put Donny van de Beek outside of the box and make him too wide from play, he does not play well. He's not a good through passer. He's not a good dribbler with the ball. He's not one who will pick out passes like a Paul Pogba. But what he does excellently is that he can find you inside the box with one touch. He is an exquisite finisher. He is of a rare breed of like an Enganche of a Dennis Bergkamp. He's been coached by him. He dates his daughter. It, someone will get the playstyle in the veins pretty soon. That DNA is clearly there. Even the Ajax mold of him playing. On the sincerely, would you have expected probably an Ahmad Diallo or a Donny van de Beek to start? Maybe not this one. Maybe the next game against Leicester, because you have to rotate your squad, haven't you?
Yeah, I fully expect either of them to at least start the next game or appear as a sub. But coming to Donny van de Beek, the Premier League has not been really kind to him. He has not actually found his footing, and I mean, even if Ole wants to, he just can't put him directly in the team. There, he is not really fitting in that well. Yes, he can be that impact sub who can come on at 75, 80 minutes, and if the game is at let's say a 1-1 or a 2-2 or a stalemate, he might just find that pass that sets either of the strikers or even some midfielders through. But that's about it as far as we have seen him this season. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, yes, he's been backing him as he does all his players. As we all know, he's a very good man manager. Uh, yeah, I think he is actually trying to groom him and use him uh, at a larger frequency in the coming seasons, that provided if he stays. But yeah, at this point in time, he is not really clicking all that well. Although he is a good player, we know. But with the presence of Bruno Fernandes in that position, as you mentioned, it's really hard to see him, coming straight into the starting 11. Yes, if he gives himself some time. He learns from his colleagues. He learns from his coach. Yeah, in the coming seasons, I might see him, starting in that team, but not at this point because it will actually jeopardize the way Ole and his team plays.
Right, because we have seen a set pattern what Ole Gunnar Solskjaer likes to play. Kaushik, would you agree with what and to some extent me just what we said right now is that do you think that Van de Beek is some kind of a player that we panic bought in some cases because we didn't get Jack Grealish, our main target, and something even though he's a very no two ways about it that he's a very good player, he'll be excellent next season considering the fact we'll have additions if we have additions, or I'll personally go and break Joel Glazer's head in America if COVID protocol allows me to. But on the contrary of the fact that do you think that he has got what it takes to be a successful name at Old Trafford, or is he again a Juan Sebastian Veron all over in the making?
No, I don't think so. Dutch players and United have had a very good history. Even if you look at Dutch players who haven't been so successful anywhere else, they have come and won Premier Leagues where other club legends have failed to do so. I'm talking about Alexander Butner, by the way. So, keeping that anywhere away from everything.
OP moment,
So,
OP moment in the chat. सब खत्म podcast बंद कर दो. Arsenal fans are down so much in the table that we cannot insult them with Robin van Persie as well. Come on, Kaushika, have some shit. Full OP
so
moment in the chat. Focus like इसके लिए.
Oh,
Okay.
so in any ways, I don't think so. It was a panic buy because if you see panic buys, you'll see no disrespect to fellow Fellaini or somebody like that. Then you would see amounts in the range of 38, 40 million splashed on players like that. But I believe something in the region of 35, 34, 35 to 40 million pound range of a price for somebody like Van der Beek is, I think, something that's worth it because it's not that he's somebody who was just floating around in the air whose hype was built up by some sort of what can I say, self-made followers or bots on Twitter. He genuinely gave good performances in Eredivisie. Even when he got the first goal for us during his debut at, I think it was the game versus Crystal Palace, our first game when the season started. If you see
Yes.
how he scored a goal, I think they didn't have a proper preseason with us as well because he was bought in between the transfer window while he was already training with Ajax, possibly. So he was very instinctive in front of goal. And to be very honest, if you give him a constant run of games, he would shine through. Same thing was, I think, spoken about Fred when he wasn't being able to play that much. He was low on confidence. He was missing balls that was given to him. He wasn't able to receive balls properly. There was stamina lacking. He didn't have conviction with his tackles. But once he got in a run of games under his belt, he had been excellent. Same went for Marcus Rojo. I believe when he was with us, there was a period when I think Chris Smalling and Marcus Rojo had this pairing, left foot, right foot. And in
Yeah.
that stretch of games, they were impeccable together until Rojo got injured. So all he needs is a decent run of games, and I don't believe Ole Solskjaer is somebody who will who would let you dry and just banish you other sides unless he doesn't want to. Because if he had any sort of this of a mindset to put him on the sidelines, not include him in his plans, he would tell that Donny Van de Beek is excellent. I know he will come back and next season start firing. Whenever he has said stuff like this, Alexis Sanchez was sold. And he said the same about Diogo Dalot, so I have high doubts whether he'll come back or not. But he hasn't said this about him. He praises him, and there has always been a lot of articles trying to demean Van der Beek, but he has maintained from his side that he feels loved. And I believe it's just a matter of time before he gets a proper preseason and establishes himself. I think he's a fantastic buy when he gets going. That's my
Absolutely.
two cents
People
on this.
people forget the fact that Gundogan Dortmund came into City and he had to take 4 years to establish. We're just hearing of Gundogan this season, that too because he scored goals. In that period, they bought Rodri. There was Javi Fuego, if I'm not wrong. There was, sorry, Javi Garcia, who Martin Demichelis tried as a central defensive midfielder, whom Marcus Rashford ended his career with that nutmeg, by the way. There are a lot of combinations that Pep Guardiola tried, but no one spoke that Gundogan is being wasted. German talent number one being wasted by Bolt. No headlines were there. It's just because it's Manchester United. Similarly, the arrogance of Greenwood and Phil Foden, what they did, Halkat Jawani in the preseason with England at Iceland. Foden was nowhere near the bashing that Greenwood got. And I think this is just an agenda to prove all the motive. Okay, Shan has been waiting. Shan, I'll go to you on this, on your favorite topic, that De Gea versus Dean Henderson kind of a debate, where both of them are vying, well, are not outright clear choices for the Euros. And when De Gea went on a paternity leave, he came back seeing that he was not starting in the Premier League matches. Probably there's a conundrum that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said to him that, David, do you want to play the Europa League final, or do you want to see out the rest of the dead rubber games? That because United were finishing second at that point of time, head and shoulders clear. Similarly, Shan, I'll ask you this: is that even though David gets to play a final, would it have been better for Dean if he got that final exposure, considering that we are looking at him as our long-term successor?
Well, I have basically a different notion to rotate the squad with goalkeepers. And I think that the two of the goalkeepers, because Dean Henderson was having a great season with Sheffield United, I guess.
Yes.
Sheffield United. So Dean Henderson was top form. So when Ole is a generous manager. Even though the players are feeling difficult to fit in the team, he tells them that, yes, you are wanted. And he made a place for Dean Henderson instead of David De Gea when he went to leave. When he went for a leave, and when he came back, and I think it's disgusting. I think it's disgusting. My answer don't change. David De Gea has been a legend for this club, and he did for us what nobody else did for this club. He single-handedly saved this club when the club was in midst of conceding 6 goals, 7 goals, and 8 goals. And I think it's completely a disgrace and not to select him in running matches. And I think David De Gea should start in any match, even when there are. I mean, he's one of the greatest goalkeeper in the world at the present moment, and he is one of my favorite. And I think David De Gea over Dean Henderson at any point. Yes, Dean Henderson can be rotated in few of the matches, like in this match, like Aston Villa. I think if David De Gea played in some crucial matches, in some crucial previous matches, I think Dean Henderson would have got some occasional matches in the Premier League and some occasional matches in the Europa League. But I think David De Gea over Dean Henderson any day. My answer don't change. I think David De Gea over Dean Henderson any day. I'm sorry about
Still not the. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, like David De Gea over Dean Henderson.
No, somebody else said something in between. No one. Okay. Thing is that what Dean brings is that you can have him as a sweeper keeper, and what is important in this modern day football, that you can have him as an extra defender, right? So, and that David has been subpar in this performances of late since the World Cup, and although see what Luke Shaw became because of Alex Telles, and we are suddenly seeing the best of David De Gea because of Dean Henderson. And as a Man United fan, all the good players are welcome. If you are running with your ass, if you take yourself for granted, your performances will drop. We saw Luke Shaw doing that. Alex Telles gave a push at his arse and made him the best left back in the world right now. I say that loudly and clearly. Jordi Alba fans, please move away. You're not going to like the answer. But then again, this is something which is worth pondering upon. So, okay, Yusuf, on a tactical perspective, since Yusuf is the tactical maestro of this segment, I had recently made a thread between Trent Alexander-Arnold, Reece James, and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, who would actually go to the Euros. And a lot of the opinions were there that Trent Alexander-Arnold was the least. Aaron Wan-Bissaka was the least favored one out of the two, despite of being Aaron Wan-Bissaka being on top of them in league positions. Now, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, we all know Aaron Wan-Bissaka's qualities. We all know Trent's qualities. Excellent crosser, good passer. Reece James, a bit of both. Good runner with the ball, good shots. But what Aaron Wan-Bissaka can do, what Trent Alexander-Arnold can do, a few fullbacks in the world can replicate. But can the other fullbacks, name anyone, I'd accept any one fullback that can tackle like Wan-Bissaka and save you crucial goals against the likes of heavyweight world class wingers. Yusuf, I'll ask you this. Even though he has been playing with a non existent right wing at Manchester United, with Daniel James being Daniel James and Greenwood not necessarily suited to the right hand wing play, what we expect him, he has been providing width, he has been coming back. In between, he exhausts himself thrice. Still, he makes up the ground and covers Lindelof's ass numerous times, and we diss off this character. Is this justified by any case? Does Aaron Wan-Bissaka make a claim for that right back berth in Gareth Southgate's team?
Yes, of course, he does make a claim. First of all, thanks to you for that brilliant thread. It was wonderful reading it. The three
Thank
that
you.
you chose, like, obviously, that the situation comes down to two, like Van Bissaka or Trent Alexander-Arnold, but there is Kyle Walker as well. Now, if what I think, if England goes for a back three system, as they usually went with it like way before, Kyle Walker can be a third centre back when Bissaka or Arnold can be the right back. Now, if you want a defensive right back, if you want to cut off that wings, like we even saw in the PSG game in both the legs, he was outstanding when Bissaka. Uh, he was just brilliant, and defensive wise, he is the best right back that I can say in the league, defensive wise.
I'll just cut
But
you off,
what
sort of.
Trent,
Just one thing I'll cut you off on this is that we have seen Trent Alexander Arnold being targeted by Tony Cruz and being destroyed every time up top opposite a top passer and a brilliant runner. Imagine England playing against France. One ball from Pogba to Mbappe, England
yeah,
is dead, and England will be dead all over again.
yes, 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 yes. That's the thing you see. That's what I have mentioned. Aaron Wan-Bissaka is the best defensive right back. If you want to have a mix, you go with Reece James. If you want to just attack from that side, you go with Trent Alexander-Arnold. This is what Gareth Southgate has to decide. What does he want from his right back? Does he want solidity at the back, or does he want him to attack? That's the main question, I think. I personally would go for Van Bissaka, I think. If we are going for firstly, I'll go for the back three system with Walker as a right centre back and Van Bissaka as a right wing back. I think that would be the perfect duo there.
Considering the fact that how Wan Bissaka is press resistant, I did that trade. If you guys can go check it out on my Twitter feed, or it's there on Facebook as well. Is that I highlighted that Wan Bissaka doesn't lose the ball very often. And I'd ask you this: we know we had this debate, even though if England, who has recently shifted from a back three to a back four, very recently, because I've been seeing that, but it's Gareth Southgate. He'll go thug life and play Trippier and Walker in the same team. We don't know what he's going through. But considering the fact that both Trippier and Kyle Walker are beyond the 30s right now, and at that point of time, do you think that Aaron Wan-Bissaka, even though with the likes of Sancho, with the likes of Foden, with the likes of Sterling up ahead of him, isn't that creativity enough for the England strikers? But you get the solidity in the bottom. You stop Mbappe, you stop Eden Hazard if he plays. You stop all the world's best wingers at the moment of time, don't you? And that's a given.
Yes, one thing you have to ask yourselves this, and all the viewers that are watching, and especially the Trent Alexander-Arnold fans, I'm telling you, what do you want from your right back? Do you want them to stop balls, or do you want them to put crosses in? Right? Okay, if you go with Trent Alexander-Arnold, let me say this: every one of us knows he's a great crosser, but I have seen him play. If he puts 20 crosses in the box, 18 of those will be him saying Inshallah and then crossing in the box. The two of them will be measured, but the rest 18, they are just, it depends on luck. He just whips his foot, he just whips in the cross. That's it. He doesn't see where Salah is or Mane is or anything like that. You see the games and you will understand. Coming to Wan Bissaka, yes, as Shamrat and Yusuf
It's the fact that Ananda said that Liverpool have a high rate of chance people in the spamming the box. Mane, Firmino, Salah, all there in the box. Even Wijnaldum making those late runs. In England, you will have just a Harry Kane. Neither Rashford nor Sterling would be making up the numbers because they're not great with their heads. Nor from Calvin Phillips, nor Jordan Henderson, nor your Mason Mount will be coming. So there's essentially one target to hit. So would you take Trent? Go on, Ananda, with your clarifications.
Yeah, so now if you talk about Wan Bissaka, as Shamrat and Yusuf said, he will provide you the maximum solidity in the back that any of the other choices are going to provide. You have seen his tackles, how he goes in there, how he wins those balls. Not only does he go in there, how he wins those tackles. That's very important. And like now, as you're seeing with United, you might not see him as a great attacking option because he doesn't have that support while going forward. But as again Shamar said that he will have Jadon Sancho, he will have Raheem Sterling, he will have Phil Foden. He will definitely get that support, and he is not a bad crosser of the ball. He will whip those crosses in. He can also drill those crosses in. And one main thing is that when you see him marauding forward, very, very rarely or not at all, you will see him lose the ball. He doesn't lose the ball in tight situations. He will either find
Very
that
good
pass.
dribbler.
Yes, he will find that pass or get out of that tough position when others press him. So he will give you the two dynamics that are needed in modern fullbacks. He will give you defense. He will give you attack. He will give you a good player on the ball. Trent Alexander-Arnold will give you a great crosser. He will be good on the ball, but he's not at all a great defender. I'm sorry also to all the Liverpool fans watching. You may think I'm just being a Manchester United fan dissing Trent Alexander-Arnold. No, he is defensively very, very unstable. And for the England fans out there, my shout out to Gareth Southgate will be maybe Reece James and or Wan Bissaka with. And if they go for a three at the back, then according to Yusuf, yes, Kyle Walker is that right centre back, and Aaron Wan Bissaka on his right side in the
So contrary to both of you, I'd actually select Trent and Aaron Wan-Bissaka, two specialists. So there's nothing in between. You want to attack like the teams of Macedonia, you go with the Trent Alexander. No one better than him in creating passes. Even if he spams crosses in inshallah, but he's still a very good crosser of the ball. He's the best free kick taker in England at this moment of time. As okay, Sneak, the Liverpool fans are spamming the comment box. So can AVB do something that Trent did against Aston Villa at stoppage time with Southgate sitting in the stands? Are you watching now Southgate at clinical quality? Yeah, that's what we're talking, because Trent Alexander-Arnold is not necessarily a right fullback. He's just David Beckham playing at right back. He's just the FIFA region, that right midfield kind of a slot. So if it is right wing back situation, definitely if you want to attack, go with Trent all along. Teams like Macedonia don't need Aaron Wan-Bissaka to stop the wingers, or the three centre backs are correct. Okay, diverging from that topic, Kosikda, I'll ask you this now. The late resurgence of Aston Villa from last season is basically because of Jack Grealish. He's been their captain. He's missing out of this match, and tough luck to him. He had scored some fantastic goals at Old Trafford, and we lost that match, I remember. But how much of a miss would this team actually be without a Jack Grealish in the ranks tonight, Koshikda?
Jack Grealish is, like one of those. If you go to a local sweet shop in Kolkata, you'll see all those sections of sweets. They are humming with all kinds of hornets. All bees and hornets. They swivel around the gulab jamuns and rosagollas and all the beautiful shondeshes. So I would suggest, I would, compare Jack Grealish to somebody, to a Misty or to a sweet item like that. He is somebody, when he runs with the ball, he is very good at running with the ball with pace. And as a result, opposition players, they get out of position. He drags two or three players with him when he runs. And as a result, spaces are created which can then be exploited by the likes of Ross Barkley, El Ghazi, and even an industrious player like McGinn. So whenever he is there, all the other Aston Villa players, they feed off his confidence, they feed off his ability because they know they have a genuine out ball when they can give it to him. And they also know that a situation where Aston Villa are in a spot of bother, he has the ability to create a chance out of nothing. And I mean nothing. He can do whatever any other top player can do. Beautiful crossfield passes with the outside of his right foot, carrying the ball all the way if he has to waste time in case Villa is leading, to score audacious goals, to have a very tenacious attitude of not giving up, to carry his team forward. So if somebody like that is missing from the lineup, obviously it's very difficult to what can I say, to substitute him or to find an adequate like for like substitution. Which, for example, even we suffer when Bruno Fernandes doesn't play some of the games. We see that in situations like that, the attacking edge is missing. Don't see that flair. That is the reason why Aston Villa, even though they are a team which plays very cohesively, having somebody like a Jack Grealish elevates them, which is the reason why during the start of the season, while when the other teams didn't have that much of a time to prepare themselves, considering they had a longer season, Aston Villa were up and running because He was there. He was sharp, and you can see by the kind of studs he wears, he doesn't have any problem getting kicked out. He has tiny, tiny socks and tiny shin
The
guards.
most fouled player in the Premier League. That speaks volumes, doesn't it?
That is what I'm saying. He'll drag 2 or 3 players with him, and what will happen is players like Fred or McTominay, or in other cases, if I'm talking about players like Rodri or a Wijnaldum, when they will try to run with him, they will get yellow cards and they will be crippled in their ability to track back or take a team foul later on in the game. And
Right.
the moment he drags people out, you have this much amount of space. And if you have a person like Ross Barkley running there, it's almost game over, tata, goodbye, see you later on. So definitely not having him is a miss for Aston Villa, but I, just like any other person would want, it would have been great had he been a part of our team as well. I wouldn't mind that. It would have been amazing.
Okay, sour grapes all over. Shan, I'll go to you with the tactical analysis segment. I'll Hatekori the tactical analysis segment tonight. Yusuf is wondering what Hatekori is right now. I'll not tell him, it's a secret. We are using code words over here. Okay, Shan, the slide is up. So this is a slide from last season. Manchester United. Okay, I have a comment. No, it's Nightbot. Okay, Nightbot is the most loved creature in my YouTube channel. Okay, so as you see very efficiently in this setup, Pogba playing so deep that he now Shan, even as you wanted Pogba to play deep, let us get a fact straight that he has been more productive playing off in the left attacking midfield role, probably somewhere close to his Juventus days with two midfielders in Marquisio and Vidal sitting in. Probably not McTominay and levels differ than, but they do the same job essentially. So again, you see how Villa crop up the space in behind. Especially people berate Martial, but Martial is very important in what Ole tries to play. Cavani brings a different aspect altogether. The game plan changes, but initially Ole tries to play with Martial and those quick one-touch plays, and that's exciting football. And with Pogba on the left, he'll get a lot of spaces because teams will try to squeeze in very efficiently. My question to you on this is that with Aston Villa's industrious work rate that we all know that they have, essentially with John McGinn, he's like the Irish Fred, runs around all of the pitch, probably a better delivery on the ball. I'll ask you this: with Pogba and with McTominay, would you be able to stop Ollie Watkins running through that defense, dispossessing Pogba with the way that Aston Villa have pressed?
I've stopped believing in Pogba in defensive manner. He loses too many balls, so I won't trust Pogba with the defensive work and grant him the defensive work, keeping him in that midfield area. Thank God Prashant Bhau is not here, because if I say anything for Martial, he would be behind me. You know what? I'm not saying that. So unfortunately, Martial is injury and is out. Martial is having injury and is out. So Neil, this is a straight answer. I won't grant Pogba with the defensive work. I would like any other player like Fred or McTominay playing with Pogba, and would grant him the defensive work, and would be saying in his ears that, hey, listen, I know you are not a better player than Paul Pogba, but we all know that he is horrible with the defensive works and he loses too many balls. So please, if he loses the ball, please go and help him out, or else will be or else his agent will be on the next day saying that Paul Pogba is not working for Manchester United. He wants to leave the club, and all will be like, no, please, we want you. So Paul Pogba is a kind of player who loves to go up with the ball, take in those long balls from the midfield area, and that's what Pogba is famous for, making those long balls. So that's why I want him to play in that midfield CM area. That's why.
Right.
But if he's playing in that left wing area, also he's very good, because we know that he can drag in and make those long shots. So I also trust him over there, but not in that defensive workout area. I don't trust him in those defensive area where he loses too many balls and he puts pressure on his immature midfield players like McTominay and Fred, who has to cover him up, and puts a lot of pressure on a player like Harry Maguire and Victor Lindelof, who is really slow in pace. So yeah, that's it.
Probably hit it right. Okay, Yusuf, right now, so we're talking about how Aaron Wan-Bissaka doesn't get any support from the right wing. This picture is a clear testament to that. There is our non-existent right wing. in flesh and blood right now. So this is a picture from a transition of of this fixture last season. That when if United win the ball, there is simply no switch of play. But Paul Pogba or Scott McTominay, we have seen that switching the ball over to the left hand side time and again. But in this case, there's nothing. Wan Bissaka is there on the midfield trying to cover Jack Grealish, as you can see over here. Wan Bissaka is here and Jack Grealish is here, anticipating the switch of play. Now again, Yusuf, I'll ask you this: is that we know how United like to prop up the left side of play with Marcus Rashford, with Luke Shaw, with Paul Pogba overlapping. But suddenly, with the likes of Anwar El Ghazi, what Neil put up on tonight, that Sigdo Neil put up on, that he would be giving Aaron Wan Bissaka a tough time, considering the fact that Marcus Rashford will not be coming down to help him on the right. Greenwood will not be coming down as much to help him on the right. But do you think that what Aston Villa's main mojo is playing those quick one-touch plays and getting it off to Bertrand Traore or Anwar El Ghazi with that interspace midfield might just pose a problem for us in the tactical setup that we have seen?
I don't think Aston Villa are a very good team, no doubt to them. But with Jack Grealish missing, they will be very tough to win for them. They will be very tough to pose a threat. I think, as you said, with El Ghazi will run all over when Bissaka. There was some comment as well. The thing is that when Bissaka didn't get overrun in the PSG game, as you mentioned in the earlier podcast, and we saw it in the game, that when Bissaka isn't afraid, like he is very good defensively. Moreover, what Sayanda said about Pogba is that he won't do that defensive work. Like we don't trust him with the defensive work. In that zone, we have to have like a central defensive midfielder. Like one of them can press the ball and one of them can cover the passing lanes. If McTominay is going to press the ball, then Fred has to cover the passing lanes. There has to be support to Wan Bissaka. Yes, of course, there should be support to him because you can't expect him to do all the work defensively alone. Now Rashford won't track back. Now this is Rashford won't track back, Greenwood won't track back. This is what you're saying. But the defensive midfielder should drop in with Wan Bissaka to cover this passing lanes up, because if you see that the far side where the arrow is there's really a 2 versus 1 situation going on. If
Right.
that right back, left back comes forward against Wan Bissaka and then Grealish and that
And it's
player
kind of a
makes a
similar
2 versus
lineup
1.
tonight, if what the situation is,
Yeah.
isn't it, Yusuf?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That 2 versus 1 situation, we have to avoid it. No matter how good a centre back you are, no matter how good a right back you are, no matter how good a defensive player you are, you you can really cope up with a two man advantage. Like if 2 versus 1 is there, and I have got Sergio Ramos, and if I have got like two attackers from Championship, there will be trouble for Sergio Ramos. So that has to be avoided. The numerical advantage has to be cut down. That's what I think.
Absolutely. And even like a passer like Douglas Luiz who can pick balls out for fun, which Manchester City are always interested in. Manchester City and love for midfielders is always a story up for grabs. Okay, Kosika, very truly to you that this is a slide where it determines that it's not all about Jack Grealish. This shows that even with the ball, see if the transition is around Douglas Luiz, who is recipient of the ball. This is Burnley, by the way. This is just showcasing the attacking side. Is that see how Ollie Watkins finds the channels in between the centre backs, and that is the space that we have been most vulnerable from in this season. And again, see how Douglas Luiz and Jack Grealish, maybe Anwar El Ghazi in that play, they play it centrally. They make the team compact. They bring their playmakers, wide playmakers inside so that the striker can have a dart and Douglas Luiz can pick out that pass. Now, this is ditto what Victor Lindelof has been doing very lately. Just Marcus Rashford cutting in from that left channel slot. Hoshinka, I'll ask you this. Many teams have tried to copy not copy exactly, tried to enact United style just against them, to the fact that sometimes they have even succeeded on it. It's ridiculous to say that, but even with our weakness in those channels, because Luke Shaw will be going up, probably Fred will be dropping in, but especially with the likes of Ollie Watkins, the strong, bulky lad that he is, even with Maguire, he'll not play with in as a target man. He'll play in along the channels. He'll give Maguire the slip in those certain areas. Would you think that this kind of a system, especially with Douglas Luiz and Ollie Watkins up top, and even could Ollie Watkins make a late push for the England Euros team?
Well, he's one of those industrious players, industrious strikers. pretty much, although somebody like a Patrick Bamford is a bit different, but if you look at both of them, they were names who were pretty prevalent or rather pretty relevant in the championship. However, when they made their scene in the during this season's Premier League, their names have come up as actually very good, cost-effective, industrious alternatives to high-profile names such as Harry Kane or a certain Jadon Sancho, etc. Something which England would definitely benefit of, and it's worth giving them a try. And this slide illustrates successfully how they can hit you and hit you pretty hard. But what happens when Aston Villa plays a team like us is we certainly, with no disrespect to Burnley, with the way they play, elbows out, knuckles out, I'll hit you in the head, you will go all lights out. I just made it up anyways. Let it be. So we are a team who are technically pretty gifted. If you see the likes of Bruno Fernandes, as well as McTominay, they are good passers in short term, and they have over the time that they have played together developed a very good understanding. I time and time again I stress on this simple fact. Even though we have succumbed a few times while trying to play out of the back, there was this game, FA Cup game against Man City. City were pressing us like anything on the right side, and there was only Greenwood, Wan Bissaka, McTominay was there, and Bruno Fernandes up top. There was just like three or four passes where they just touched the ball among each other and got the ball out, and it was almost a counter attack. So I believe when Aston Villa come up against us, we will see almost 50 to 75% more passes that we will create or rather play in each of the halves. So let's say, for example, if United generate something in the region of 600 passes, you will see Aston Villa close to 370, 75 or 80, because against team like them we always tend to hold the upper hand. So we have to understand, even though we are on the possession, we have to be very aware about these runs which can be made in from in behind us. Therefore, there will always be the chance where the classic striker run which happens, a semicircle or an arch run is made from behind the centre back, or in any cases in between the two centre backs. So in that situation, we have to be wary, and certainly the likes of McTominay has to come in between the four centre halves and create like a situation where he's a false number five in between them. That would
Classic Thierry Henry,
successfully
isn't it?
Yes, most definitely. So in that case, it is always a very, like I said, Victor Lindelof tends to struggle against strikers who are very strong. It can, if I already mentioned, it can be the likes of Mason Maximilian of Newcastle or somebody of that mold, even a certain somebody like Lukaku. Because he's lanky compared to most central defenders, you will find it tough to cope up when there is a shoulder to shoulder or real hustle when the ball comes or arrives compared to Maguire. So we have to be aware of that, and most definitely, if we are hit on the counter, it's most likely that we might concede, because I think when Grealish was playing, we conceded something like this when he scored a brilliant goal from us, cutting in from the left hand side. He curled it right past De Gea. He couldn't do anything about it. So having Ross Barkley in your side, Oliver Watkins and people like this, you have to be aware of counter attacks, and you have to be very robust in your possession and not lose it cheaply.
Pretty well said. And I think it's gonna be a difficult game. We tend to make hogwash of these kind of games that we should win, but then again, it's Manchester United. We believe in coming back, even though there's no need for it basically. Okay, 10 minutes to go for the match. Prediction time right now. I'll start off with Shayan. A 5-0 victory again. Yeah, last time वो किया था, he made a 5-0 prediction. We hammered him. He hammered him left, right, and center, and we won 6-2. And he was on my WhatsApp, right? यार मैंने बताया था पैसा दो like that. Sam, I'll not hit it against you this time. Another 5-0 victory.
No. I would contradict myself. What I said in
Okay,
the
that's
starting
new.
of this session. So I think it will be a hat trick for Scott McTominay, and with the help of Pogba and Bruno. I hope so. If he receives support, So it's a
FPL
3-0
triple
victory.
captain vibes all over.
Jokes apart, it will be a 3-0 victory.
Okay, Shan got the last one very coolly. Yusuf, your predictions for tonight? Difficult game or routine win for Manchester United?
Routine win, like routine is like we'll go down in the first half, then we'll make a magical comeback, and then Cavani will do that celebration again. 3-1, 3-1 win easily, I think. 3-1.
Oh my god. with Dean Henderson in the side, Ananda, do you think that we can finally keep a clean sheet and score in the same match?
Well, I don't know about the clean sheet, but I guess we will score. So I'm not going to be as audacious as Sharon is saying Scott McTominay is going to get a hat trick. But I will, as usual, play it safe. I'll go with a 1-1 draw with, I think, City taking the lead.
अरे भाई भाई
City?
भाई भाई
If
What
City.
we draw, I
City?
think City takes the lead, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Okay, City takes the lead. So
Yeah.
I was confused.
City is not taking
1-1
the league.
draw.
City are gonna lose the
Ananda,
game.
Ananda,
City are gonna
please
lose
don't
the
take away
three
the
games.
hope. Please don't take away the hope, Ananda.
Let City win the league. Either Chelsea or City win the, the Champions League.
Champions League.
And we'll win the Europa League and beat them in the Super Cup. So we're still the
My
best.
insides are
यार
already
जिंक्स
bleeding.
मत करो जिंक्स मत
This
करो
is my prediction.
Villarreal Spanish opposition
Comrade, do you remember the prediction I made last season?
finishing third.
That finishing third and playing in the Champions League. So this season, my
Yeah,
prediction
that was
is
for a
that,
different channel altogether. Come
that's
on.
okay. It's me, right? So I'll make a prediction right here, live, that we are going to finish second in the league. We're going to win the Europa League, and we will beat whoever comes against us in the Super Cup.
Okay, screenshot this, take this, jo kar lo. Let this be in print. But before that, Kaushik's final predictions for tonight. Routine again, same question. Routine win for Manchester
routine,
United or win?
routine 2-0 for us. Routine 2-0 for us, and without any major hiccups. And City, I don't think City will again get the chance to make those bold headlines. Your championship winning lineup or your championship winning team. Not even today itself. They'll have to wait a bit more. So
That's
it's a routine
inevitable.
win
That's
for us.
inevitable.
That will be a routine win for us. Of course, we might give them hope initially, making them feel like, oh my god, wow. But then we'll hit up and we'll be like, hey boy. So it's all right. We'll win it 2-0
Oh
comfortably
my
for us.
god. Okay.
But
All the managers.
just to clarify that, 3 games in the coming 5 days, we're not going to win them all. So City, in the meantime, will celebrate the
Yeah,
league this
they
week
will win,
only.
but not today.
But yeah, but and we none of us like to lose against Liverpool. So yeah, Leicester
Who knew
maybe.
Chelsea is gonna beat City yesterday? Who knew Chelsea is gonna beat City yesterday? City are going to lose all the matches. Keep quiet.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I'm saying. City are gonna lose all
that's why
the
we took a penalty for
games
that.
and we are going to win the league. We are winning the league. Ole is taking us to the promised land. That's what I'm saying.
Oh no.
यार अनलाइक पढ़ेंगे भर भर के अनलाइक पढ़ेंगे मैं खुद अनलाइक डालूंगा come on a serious note as Yusuf said this is going to be routine Ollie Watkins यार जो betting वगैरह करते हो ले जाओ यहाँ से last time it clicked Ollie Watkins is going to give Aston Villa the lead. United are going to make a comeback, but what I hope is this isn't a draw. Which this game has the markings of a draw. Roma was tough, and all the players have started those matches. Are mostly in the lineup, barring Rashford. Fred and McTominay weren't there initially, but I think that this is going to be something of a drag because we tend to make these games out. Douglas Luiz is going to be exquisite. He's someone who I think is difficult to keep up pace with and someone who is an excellent passer from deep. But let's hope that this is a match that we can get back to winning ways because Leeds, we didn't win the match versus Leeds, should have won it. यार City को ज़्यादा ही hope थी. But that's about pretty much it. 5 minutes to go for the match. Thank you guys for joining in as usual. Lots of games coming up. Let's actually hope that we can build up to the Europa League final with a confident set of wins and finish on a strong second that Gary Neville always wanted. Chalo, thank you guys. See you on the next one. Bye bye.